Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us here for another WPG Academy. I'm back. Thank you to Megan, who's been holding the fort last week and did a couple of sessions. I know everyone had an amazing time. So thank you to Megan. And thank you also to a very good friend of mine, Ivana, for coming on the platform tonight. Is this your second or your third time?
I think it's my third time, as
Yeah,
far as I can remember.
amazing. Yeah. Well, thank you for coming back on. Really appreciate it. And we've got loads of percussion action tonight. So we're going to start with a debut tonight. Lewis, this is his first outing of the Academy. So for everyone watching at home, Lewis, would you mind just introducing yourself, where you're from, and what you're going to present?
Well, I'm Luis Martinez Garcia. I'm from Spain, and the video you're gonna watch is from from the last concert of the music degree here in Spain, like my recital, the end of the degree. I played 5 pieces, and this is Merlin. I'm sure most of the percussionists here know about that piece, so let's hope they enjoy them, and that's it.
All right, great. So this is, as most people know, quite long. So we're just going to take a little bit of it. Ivana's already very kindly taken up some time to watch this, so we probably won't watch the whole thing. But until then, Ivana as well, if you can remember to mute when the videos are on, it should be at the bottom. If not, I'll do it for you. But no
Okay,
problem.
I don't see anything, but for the moment, but
That's
okay,
fine.
yeah.
I'll do it for you. Don't worry. It's all good. All right, let's watch.
So how does it feel to listen to yourself? So how much time has passed since you played it?
Sorry, I
How much time has passed since you played it? You played it.
1 week. Last Friday it was the concert, so 1 week and 1 day.
Okay, so just briefly, how does it feel now, like
Uh,
watching back?
it's I have watched it back a few times to check it, the sound and everything, and it's always a bit strange to watch it from the outside.
Okay,
But I
okay,
think not the worst time I play it.
okay. I mean, it is, and you attacked it like super bravely. What I really appreciated about your performance, that it was really like you were deep inside of it, very passionate and very. You had a beautiful tension, not in the bad way, like tensed,
Yeah.
just
Okay.
like it was just like moving towards this, like like the whole first movement had this beautiful like going forward but never too nervous, but keeping us there, like waiting
Yeah,
for these
I
harmonies
get
to
it.
go
A good
on.
tension.
Yeah, a good tension. I, for example, starting from the first movement, I would maybe point out a few things. So
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
obviously you are free to, you have your own visions. I could suggest to just observe some things about the structure of the piece. If you look at it, you can see that there is a lot of harmony changing on the weak beats. You see,
Okay.
like a
Yeah.
lot of like going off, like pa ti pa pa, right? And he also has some time signature changes, like
Hmm.
4 4 4 5 4, a weird 9 8 there in bar 16, and then going back to 4 4. I From my point of view, as I interpret it, like let's say the first phrase, which is the simplest one, later it gets more complicated. He starts with a major chord.
Yeah.
That's maybe the only major chord, like as simple as that. Maybe next one is bar 25, when he starts slightly faster. Then you have this G major, just like a simple chord. And what he does, he starts with this G, like this phrase starts with G major and then ends with which chord?
The first phrase.
Yeah,
I will have to check it. I think so. I don't know.
it doesn't matter. So it's a G minor.
Minor.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's funny, like he just does this first time he does a little movement, right? And what he does, if you observe, he starts with the G on the beat. Then on the weak beats, boom, two, pa, pa, and then he's on the strong beat, pa, right, with a
Yeah.
minor. The same thing happens in the next phrase, a little bit more complicated, when he starts again with a minor chord, and then he goes into a diminished chord to the end. But again, he's always on these off beats, like ba, ba, ba. And he's here. It's interesting because here I think you observed the duration, but sometimes later not. I think you should go back and check a little bit this movement, even if it's super slow. But just
Okay.
have this feeling, of the structure. I think it's very important. So they have
Okay.
always this feeling. That's the way also he's doing, like it's building. It's not like ba, ba, but ba, ba, it's different. I mean, you did that instinctively, this kind of, but sometimes so I
Hmm.
feel like, okay, it's just like it's on the beat and it's going there. And it's interesting because sometimes the duration of the chords is 2 beats and sometimes it's 3 beats. I think
Okay. I
it's
will
really,
check.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's really important to check those things, because this idea, he actually uses it in the second movement too, like playing in between 2 and 3, like 2 and
Hmm.
3. And
Yeah.
it's to keep it going, because this is also, it's not a dance, of course, but it is a kind of a ritualistic situation where we need to have this, So it's like pa 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 pa. We need to know
Okay.
what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
I also, this might be picky from my side, but please review once again where you have the peaks of your crescendi and decrescendi, on which chord.
Okay.
And also because this was written by a composer who is not a percussionist. So he was thinking chords, okay, this little progression. So be sure there are a lot of seventh chords later on. So be sure also when you play, try to think about, okay, this is a major chord, this is a minor chord, this is, I don't know, diminished or something. Do I have this color? Do I hear that chord? Sometimes on the marimba it's hard.
It's tricky. Yeah.
It's tricky. So it's nice because you observe the lines, the changing in the voice. But I think it's important to be sure what's going on chord-wise. Do we really hear that chord? Maybe you need to bring some voice out.
Some voices. Okay.
Especially, maybe it's a bass. Maybe it's a third that defines that chord. Something like that, Especially when the chord is sitting, So also, I think the dynamics in general, it's tricky with this piece because you have to have soft and hard mallets. I mean, you need to be super soft and you need to be powerful.
Yeah.
So maybe I would look at this fortissimi and I don't know, sforzate, whatever, more like power and not so much as loudness, more like intensity. I mean, you were kind of doing that, like I'm just like, discussing.
We can always improve. So yeah.
Yeah, but it's also, I'm just like trying to also rationalize and speak with you what you wanted to. So did I interpret well your intentions?
Yeah.
So that's what I felt. And also what is interesting is also to see like what, you have tempo primo, which happens, at the beginning, and then you have it in bar, what is that? Bar 21.
21, yeah.
To be sure, that's again that same idea.
The same tempo. Okay.
Same tempo, same idea, and later on you have once more this tempo primo. This same, because you have like turbulence, a little bit of turbulence, and then you go back into this kind of statement.
Yeah, the same calm, the same. Okay.
Yes. And then what is super interesting at the end? What do you feel about the end? Is that an ending? Is that like going back? Is this like a big phrase? Or like how do you feel about the ending of the first movement?
Just the ending, like the last treble, or with the fortissimo and the death notes?
Let's say the last line. Yeah.
The last, I think, is like giving the space to the next. It's like a finish, but not to zero, because we have to start the next movement. So it's like fading out, but giving the calm before the storm, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, what I, like analyzing a little bit, it's not all about rationalizing things, but sometimes if we understand the composer's procedures, maybe we can, have some other ideas and so on. So again, you did it nicely. What happens is like, I think bar 38. So this is, I think, the first time, no, he has this before. He starts to simplify the chords. You just have empty fourths or empty fifths. I think it starts a little bit before, towards the end. You had at some point in the middle, you had these like intricate chords, sevenths, and here it gets like more. It almost sounds like a chorale, like a church thing, something very, very simple. But yet, what is interesting that from 42, here there is a dead stroke, but the end actually does not end on the strong beat. It's all on the weak beat. You see?
Yeah.
And it's a tritonus. So there is no resolution. So suspension, it's kind of, nothing is resolved. Everything is offbeat and everything is in the interval, which is ugly, it waits to be released from the dungeon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Just keeping that as a as an idea, but really try to anticipate this grooviness of the second movement. This is of course slow and it's different, but with these notions of knowing where you are in the
Yeah.
bar, you know. How do you want to, how do you when you think about rolling, how do you
Yeah.
decide about, like I will ask you a few questions. So the speed of the roll, with which hand you will lead, do you decide about it? Do you just, it happens?
I try to lead with the left one because I'm left-handed and I'm very
Okay.
close left-handed. And
Okay.
for the speed and for the peak of the crescendo, I try to sing in my head where I want to go, and I
Okay.
try to play it on the marimba. I know sometimes I don't get it where I want to be, but I try to sing it and then just let it flow with
I
the
could
roll.
tell. I could tell you were singing. So that's pretty cool. Maybe like speed wise, it's not just also not just the speed. It's also how much you go into the bar. You know,
Yeah.
to give
Okay.
yourself. Obviously, if you do the crescendo, so it's two ways. Either you speed up or you slow down, but you go into the bar, right? And maybe
Right.
also, for example, it's great when you have to stay on one dynamic. So you have this mezzo forte, bar 7 and 8, which just has to be
Hmm.
like really has to be frozen. So just be sure that it's the speed and everything is just like balanced in there, you know.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
for the hands, I think you can experiment a little bit. Sometimes it's cool to lead with one hand or the other, depending on the phrase, depending on which harmony. So experiment.
Yeah.
This is not
Okay.
this is just for you to research a little
To
bit with
try.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
decide,
Yeah.
because I found out that sometimes some phrases somehow sound better led with the left hand, or it's like, like taking every chord. It doesn't necessarily mean it's just going downwards and then it's left hand, or upwards it's right.
Yeah.
No, it's just depending. Okay, so just
Okay.
something to think about. Okay, and then we go to the monster, the second movement.
Yeah.
Okay, so what were your ideas about that? About the what did you want to convey? Like, what were your ideas about the second movement?
I in that moment, like I was just finishing the concert. It was the last piece after playing Safa and a lot of stuff. So I was just trying to
Survive.
get, yeah, to survive and get to the end and don't die in the scenario. So the head
Yeah,
wasn't almost, but I don't know. I just been,
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know,
yeah.
just
Yeah,
keep
I mean,
playing. Um,
yeah, it's understandable. I mean, it's such a, like, it's a kind of piece that you never actually finish practicing. It's never, it's like a forever battle.
yeah,
Uh, uh, so maybe also there, I suppose that you read about the piece, that you read about the ideas there. You read about
yeah.
the idea of calypso.
I didn't read about Calypso. I wrote about the poem and the Robinson poem that is named after. And
Yeah, but that came after, actually.
okay,
The
yeah,
text actually came after. One of the ideas behind the second movement is the calypso rhythm.
okay,
It
yeah, yeah. I,
is a little bit hysterical calypso. It's a little bit fast for calypso, right? Yeah. So I think you can help yourself in this craziness. When you think about it, think some things have to be really straight, like that, of
yeah,
course, with the octaves and
like the
everything.
octaves, yeah,
Yes, but there are many moments when you can really, like piano, mezzo piano, where you can do this dance-like situation, but like a little bit laid back, like tempo-wise,
hmm,
just like stretch a little bit the notes.
yeah,
Don't have, you know.
Okay.
Just thinking about it, and he's actually playing around exactly with that, what I was telling you before, like 2 and 3 groups of 2 and 3, which is actually, if you do like yam, like da 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 do da 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 ba da ba ba, if you divide it like
Yeah.
that, calypso is also like that. And I think maybe a suggestion for the beginning, which is like the first page, there's so much information, like, okay, accent, one accent, temuto here and there, you don't know where to start. I think that one thing that has to be clear is this structure of phrases which are led by the accents. If you go from the beginning, what we should be able to hear like a simple line going upwards is like yam pam pam ti ta yam pam ti pa yam pam ti ta yam pam ti.
Yeah.
This has to be like linear and clear, and that's happening actually later on all the time. These things, even in 10, like yappa pita da ta tita ba da tit. It's all the time that, you know.
Okay.
So I felt like there was a little bit of in the beginning. It was like one part was in one tempo, the next part was a little bit in the other tempo. Then, you know, like, so I think yeah, I think that's the
Okay.
work done to find in your playing, you know, this control the tempo. It's not metronome. It just has to feel.
Yeah, I have to feel it. Yeah, maybe I rush it a little bit also
Yes,
because
yes,
I
yes.
used to play it a little bit slower and I
Yeah,
just run it.
yeah. It's like that, you know. When you do,
Yeah,
how do you practice for the concerts? You know,
I
what do you
I
do?
try to record myself.
Okay,
So a few times I try to play. I have here a housemate that is also a musician, and I try to bring it to my room and then play in front of someone.
that's
But
good.
I always get nervous and then I rush the piece
Yeah.
and
What I
I
try to do, is, even when I know the piece very well, I try to torture myself to practice it
okay.
in an uncomfortably slow tempo, just because
Yeah,
whenever I get on the stage, everything feels so slow, and then later on when you listen to it, it's too fast.
yeah, okay.
You
Yeah,
feel like you
that's sadly
can't,
what happened.
yeah, you feel like you can't control it because it's too slow. It's weird. So you have to practice that feeling before artificially, I think. You
Okay,
know? So it's not like super slow, but kind of down tempo that it feels awkward, and to be able
okay.
to control it. Okay, okay. Um, um, for the also for the octaves, yes. Unfortunately, for the octaves, I mean, it's I think this effect with the octaves, it's just like this moment that has to be brilliant, and it's out there. And how do you prepare it? I mean, do you have a strategy for that? Because you kind of rushed into it, and yeah, obviously, if you just go a little bit, you know, just move a little bit, then instead of, you know, like 5 notes are wrong. I mean, you know, you did it great, but I felt like you just rushed into that. So I think you have to find a strategy to prepare it somehow, you know?
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
something, yeah,
I kind of
yeah,
have in my head that I need to play very relaxed all that part, that move, that motif that starts the pam 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 pim, pam, and then on the last bar that is try after the first octaves with only two hands, trying to do a little
okay,
retardando in order to get that
yeah,
open for the octaves. But I also rushed it and I
yeah,
kept
yeah,
flying
yeah.
through the
Oh,
octaves.
okay,
So
that was, yeah. Uh, I got it. I got it. It's really, for me, whenever I listen to pianists, it's amazing how much liberty they take, and they sell it for interpretation, and it's actually to prepare all the difficult things. Of course, you can't do, I don't know,
yeah,
but you're allowed to breathe. I mean, it's something that we percussionists sometimes forget.
mhm,
It's, we kind of, yeah, rush into
yeah,
things. Uh, Also, this part, this is like page 5, where there are combinations between like papa, papa, tada, tada. blah blah blah, then ta da ta da,
Yeah.
ta da ta da. You know, there is a lot of different things going on, and I would really try to be. I think you were investing a huge amount of energy here, you know, and kind of. I think it should just be
Okay.
if it's super precise and piercing, like ta-da, 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 it doesn't even have to be loud. You don't have to get yourself tired. It just has to be so super precise, and then in contrast,
Okay.
baba baba, you know, like very 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 opposite,
Very
much
opposite.
contrast, and
Okay.
this is also the role. Almost nothing. Just, you know, don't get tired on that, because
Yeah.
you have
Don't.
much to do after that. This should actually be a relaxing page, you know.
Okay.
So think about it. Ta-da, 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 ta-da. Okay. So that also don't rush here in 139. This shouldn't also be. It's just like from piano to forte. It doesn't have to be. You see this scale up. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think this page is a
Yeah.
really good
The
moment to prepare for what's coming. Yeah,
for what's
right.
coming on. Yeah.
And
Okay.
here also, you know, nobody's like stretch a little bit, you know, where you can. I mean, with, but you did that. You were in these parts. You were like da, 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 da. So it's already intense, and this gives you opportunity to just play it a little bit under the tempo, and it's going to be powerful, you know. But as you said, you were
Okay.
excited, and
Yeah.
so it's yeah. Okay. And also this final from it's 189. It is forte, but don't. I mean, you still have, yeah, you still have to go to
240.
fortissima. It's just important to get that, because it's actually almost rubbish talking, Tom Pim, but it's just those notes that have to work. It's nothing. He was just like doing some mess before the final thing. You know, we should not,
Okay.
yeah, just give away too much energy on this one. It's not so important. It's just a little bit all over the place, and then you have this final thing. And as you did that, you know, it doesn't have to be super fast. You know, it just, the effect needs to be
Okay.
there, because then save yourself for it, just for that last one, because
Yeah.
that one
For
has to be, yeah,
for the
that one has to
final.
be. And also it's more about speed. It's not so much
Okay.
about the 4F, like, you know.
It's difficult
Yeah,
to get
it's
there
just the
with 4F.
interpretation of, you know, it's the intensity. It's not the, you know, it's not about smashing. It's just,
Okay.
yeah. So
Yeah.
but congrats. I mean, it's like you didn't, you know, like until the end you were there like a cobra. From which town are you? Yeah, from which
I
town?
tried. I tried. I'm studying. I'm studying in Granada, but I'm from
Okay.
Cartagena.
So this is your, what is that was your
This is my last year. Now I'm going to do a master in percussion in soloist
okay,
interpretation in
great.
Madrid.
Do you know that we have my assistant? He's actually a docent now. He's not assistant, but our assistant is from Spain. He studied here, and now he got a position
Yeah.
as a teacher. So yeah, Spanish people all over the world. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you have any
Yeah. We're
questions for
taking.
me so far?
No, I think you kind just solved most of my question because they were most about the second moving and how to get that tension, not to break that sound in the melody
Yeah,
parts and not to get tired. And I think I can, and the accents and of course all that thing. I think I will have to
yeah,
try to practice very
yeah,
slow in order to don't rush
yeah,
it in concert.
yeah,
So I get
exactly. and
onto
and
it.
and and, and it's really like um the dynamics that we see. It's sometimes it's all about the effect that is out there, you know. We see fortissimo and
Okay.
then we get crazy, or we, you know, like it's all in the perspective, what's going on in the piece. If you put something a little bit down,
yeah,
tempo, dynamics, then whatever you do, it's inside. It's just relationship.
it's gonna.
Relation between parameters, right? Okay.
Okay.
Congrats again.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Nice.
Thank you for all. I will get
Very
into
nice.
it. Thank you.
Yeah, it's amazing. Just thinking about when you were talking near the beginning about sort of how the audience can affect your speed and your ability to like internalize what speed actually is, because it obviously comes from a very young age. Because I watched my daughter play one of her first piano concerts last week, and we've been working quite hard over the last couple of months, just getting like two hands working. And when changing chords, quite often, like she's just preparing it. And it's like, oh yeah. Anyway, she starts off so fast. I'm like,
oh my God.
You know, so I think you're right. Like everything appears slower than it actually is. So
what is this animated movie, like when there's something happening in the backyard of a home, like animals, and there's the rabbit, there is a slow animal, and so for the rabbit everything is like super slow. He's just like, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Nice, Lewis. Love it.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're very welcome. All right, we're going to move to America now. Features Zach. Hey, Zach.
Woohoo!
Hey, how we doing?
Good. You
Hi.
know the drill by now, because I think you've had several of these sessions. So yes, the floor is yours, my friend.
Right on. Hi, Ivana. It's so nice to meet you. I'm Zach, and I'm from North Carolina in the United States, and I study at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro with Dr. Willie. I have about 1 year left to finish my undergrad, and this is a video of Apocalyptic Etude by Dave Hall, and this is a video from my junior recital. This happened April 28th of this year. And I've used this video a couple times for these masterclasses. I'm just looking to get all the kind of feedback I can get. Oh, and
so what is your main?
I like this piece a lot.
What is your instrument-wise? What is your main focus, or you're interested into everything? What are your ideas?
I think in the past I've been mostly like a snare drum kind of guy, and then I was very lucky and was able to get a practice 5-octave marimba, and I've spent a lot of time on that this year, and so anything I can get my hands on, really. It's just kind of figuring it all out. It's kind of fun.
Cool. Did you choose the piece, or?
I did, yes, ma'am.
All right, let's go ahead and hear it.
That was quite success, I expect. Yeah,
Thank you,
yeah.
thank you, thank
Great
you.
job. Very, very effective. I took some time to really go through the piece and make some notes, because the piece is really like, you can really showcase all the different talents that you have, and there are so many, situations and musical effects and things that you can show. So these are
Yes,
just
ma'am.
suggestions to, maybe to use if you want to, add something to interpretation, right? Because you really, you have a well-rounded interpretation already, so it's really, yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you, thank you.
So I read the like apocalyptic. So the composer meant like it's kind of dark atmosphere, something like that. That's what he meant by apocalyptic, and just he wanted, he said that he was inspired with some piano music too. So it's kind of neo-romantic and intense and everything. Okay, so I also went a little bit through the tempi and the character, and starting from the beginning, this signal like pam pam, right, that repeats several times. I would play it a little bit more, not so rush, like pam 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 pam, like pam pam, just like stretch it a little bit. You did it better when you came back from the beginning, when you go back to the beginning. So that was better. And then again, 9, because of course you're preparing to, for what is going after. I think it would be a great effect if you really thought about having it always a little bit more wide, like yam pam, and again, like always the same time, like a signal, not rushing here. What about this glissando in bar 14? I would,
Man.
yeah. How do you? I forgot. So you do laggy laggy diggy 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 down. Bing. So with the right hand, boom. Do you attack it? You just bring. What do you do?
So now what I'm trying to do, what I did then, I just tried to keep it as straight in tempo as I possibly could, and I could only get like an octave or so before like I started cutting into the beat. So now I'm kind of breaking time there and kind of dragging my hand all the way down to
Yeah,
the G to
yeah,
land there and then
yeah.
resume. But I still don't know because the way I do it makes it sound really weird. What do you think?
There are several things that you could do. It's easy when it's on the on the white keys, so you can just like attack it and boom. Now here you have B flat and you have D, so it's difficult to just attack it and go down. It's a little bit awkward. So one thing would be like, okay, you do what is the sticking that you use in that bar? Because before that is 2-4-2-4. How do you play in 14? What is the sticking that you use?
I ignored 2-4-2-4. I just do
Okay,
2-3-2-3-2-3.
okay. So you do baggy, pata, pata, pop, pim. You get there like that, right? So with the right hand of that. The
Yes.
other possibility would be to like, if you could, it's quite fast, so I'm not sure if that would work. I'm not sure if that would work to, to play it between hands, like daga, 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 so that you kind of play the B flat with your left hand, and here you can do like, so it's this D that needs to be, if you could maybe play the B flat with your left hand somehow, you can try to see, like if you do the taka 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 taka. You're playing Stevens, right? You're playing
Yes, ma'am.
Stevens. So maybe, I don't know, if it can be ta pa pa pam ta da ta pam, like ta 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 ding. But you have to check it out. You know what I mean? It's like 2, 2, 3, 2, 1, and 4. You see what I mean?
Say that 2-3.
2, 3, and then you play. So it's like 2, 3, 2, 1. You kind of, if you can do like that, like ta ka pa pam da da pa pam. You see what I mean? Da pa pa pam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's actually, you know what? It's almost like a glissando. It doesn't have to be super. It's really like it's ba 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 ba. It's almost like a chromatic thing there. So much more important is to get this glissando. You know, this is really a big moment here, and it's kind of it doesn't come out. You know. So the other thing could be. The other thing could be to do it with both hands. Glissando. To be, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's the second possibility. To be, I think it would help if you would just, so you do the glissando, but the great thing would be if you, just before reaching the G, the low G, if you would do like, whoom, just like press a little bit, like do a kind of a crescendo there. So it's not, the beginning is not so important as the ending of the glissando, because it goes into this low G, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
what I was trying to do, or what I've been trying to do recently, is hit with the right on the B and D, and then bring it down a little soft, and like kind of lay into it as I go down to make kind of like a growl or something
it's
like
just
that.
It's not coming out. It's not, something has to be done there. It's a pity, because everything is flashy, boom, bam, boom, bam, and then this thing comes, and I would even take a little liberty. Sorry, like daga 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 ta ta, a little breathing there.
Okay.
Because again,
so to break
just
time a little bit,
because you know it's like
just a little bit.
because you have this little line in 13. Boom, and then back, you know, because it's also rhythmical.
Back straight into the
next bar, because rhythmically it's not on the beat. The glissando is not on the beat. It's almost like a Hungarian yata yata. So that's also interesting to hear, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you can give yourself a bit of space there, and maybe what you can do is save the crescendo, not start so soon in bar 13, just a little later, so that it kind of comes out. So that's one thing. Okay, in bar 25, it would be great to have those accents on the last beat, on the 16 notes. You know, a little bit more dramatic. He really put the accents on every 16 note. I think he really wants something to happen there. Okay, to bring it a little bit more. Okay, cool. So now we come into B. We get to the letter B. So how you know, it's a recording, so obviously everything sounds harsher than in the real performance. So you have this legati between C sharp and D. How I didn't really hear them.
I don't think I really did them.
It would be great to do that, because it's like you know, just like lay down a little bit on the C sharp and back off on the D, and then later on you have again yum bum 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 dum 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 dum. It's interesting because it's offbeat. You see 35, 36, 37 offbeat. I mean, it's not on the strong beat. The phrases start on the second beat, and it's kind of nice to maybe emphasize that with a little bit, and slightly decrescendo towards the end of the phrase. I mean, that's one of the ways to obtain the legato, right? Because this is the moment which is, you know, like sing like, it should be different in articulation. Before that, it's quite, acrobatic, and later on also quite percussive. Here, it should be more sing, you should sing a little bit more as much as you can. So you can play with the dynamics. That's the thing, like much more, and just like emphasize the beginning of the phrase. I think also this parara, parara, parara in the left hand, it happens very often. That's the way to, like feel the, that's the harmony, it's the note, so it's like, because we can't sustain. So this is giving, some belly to the harmony. So it doesn't have to be so, because it's repeated through the bar. So there's the same harmony, let's say, in the left hand through the whole bar. So you don't have to, you can back off a little bit with that. It doesn't have to be da 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 da. So this way, the melody that is in the right hand will come out a little bit more, because there are moments where we need you to really, we need to hear those chops and everything. But here it's more like a guitar, Okay. Yeah. So then we get here to the something else. I don't think you did the ritardando in 34. So what is funny, he writes ritardando, but then there is no indication of where you're going back to the tempo. So I suppose by subdued, and also it would be good because there are many things going on harmonically. It's better to have it slowlier and build it gradually. You see, like, because this was super nervous, you didn't do the ritardando, and I think it makes sense. And then go back like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars, gradually go back to the tempo, go into fortissimo, right? Because that way we'll be able to hear all these harmonies, and you have time to do the phrasing that we spoke about. Otherwise, it's, you don't have time for that. And then you show off 1 bar before C, ram, 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 and then it makes sense, then it's really effective. Okay. Okay, very good with C. That works great. Okay. This transition was also cool. 53, 54. When you go 4/3. You see what I mean? That was cool. That was nice. Okay. And then freely echoic. Okay, this is like some kind of ta-dam, that's cool. But I think once you get into bar 61, you should kind of be more precise. But I think you were doing that. Like, free is 57 and 59, but after that it should be quite, like punishing, especially. But I think you were doing that. Like straight in time, not doing that too romantic. It's kind of very straight.
So it D be a little straight?
I think so. Because before that you kind of do ta-dam, pam, ta-dam, pam. And then later on it's like tiaran, tan, 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 tati, papi, 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 ten. No, it's punishing. It's really like whipping somebody or something. It sounds a little bit like that. Yeah. I don't know who you were whipping, but yeah. And think about it. So also this works nicely in D, like you have pom pom, and then you have this C sharp which has to ring. That works well. Okay, and then the crescendo, and then sweetly, and then going back. So I think it should be always. Sweetly can be a little bit free, but whenever you go back to punishing, you should be very strict. You see what I mean? Okay. And then there is again this. This is so nice. And then I don't think you have to rush with this arpeggio in 85, so that you are sure that you will do this D major and get D instead of E. At the end of the arpeggio up there, you were boom, doesn't have to. You know, you have time to, don't have to rush. Doesn't have to be. Just you can do it slower. Yeah, pa pa pa. Especially because it says slower, and then you have these three tenuti, you know, just before the arpeggio. You see this, da da da, ring. You have time. Give yourself space. Whenever you have, from my experience, whenever you have virtuosic pieces like these, you really have to use all the slow moments, all the slow parts, made them so the effect of these virtuosic parts will be even stronger, you know? You have time here. Really, use it. Okay. Then there's letter E. Okay. And then there's this whole passage from 89. So you decided to start always slower and then do this. It's not written like that. Okay, it's your choice. But if you do that, if you do it like that, when we get into F, which is supposed to be maniacal, you should be like a maniac. How do you pronounce that? Maniacal. How do you say that in English?
I think you sound great.
So if you want to sound like a maniac here, you shouldn't use all that power before. You should bring us to that moment. I think this idea of getting crazy every time that you have this, I think you should do that gradually, you know, like bar 92, you went crazy. Okay, it's nice. But then you went back. And then again in 101, and then you went back. And you know, so this going back and forth, kind of, you lose strength, you lose the idea. I would maybe suggest, again, it's up to you. It's not, you know, I would suggest to not to rush so much, not to go so fast in 92. Okay, do a little, you know, like, because he says build slowly and accelerando, and he says build slowly and accelerando. Okay, until this part, but then you should keep the tempo that is there. So not too fast, but keep it going.
An idea I've been toying around with recently was to, from 89 to 92, was to build up kind of in like a subdued way and then start the run at 92 fast, but then slow it down a lot.
Yes.
Actually. And then
yeah, that's what I heard. I heard that. It's just that it happens several times, and then you lose the strength of that idea, you know? That's what that's what I felt. If it were just for that passage and there was something else going on after that, but he wants you to build, actually, to build this thing with growing agitation in 103. You still need to grow until F. F, the peak, the you know, the like the final point, and you should be crazy in F. This is where you should be crazy fast, because it's like all these things. But you should save yourself for F, I think. It should be more elegant before that, more in connection, everything, not just like bringing this one bar always so fast. I think so. I mean, you can try it out. It's not like, you know, written in stone. It's not, it's just an idea of generally how these things work. If you make something once, okay, it's interesting. You make it twice, okay, we've heard it. But then again, third, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, and then when we really need to be fascinated by your manic playing in F, we are not, because you already did all that before.
Yeah. How it says piano at F.
I think it should be piano, but it should be crazy, but piano, you know? It's like,
crazy, but piano?
Like a whirlwind, like, you know, because it is true that, and then relentless. Yeah, it should just be crazy from F. Just keep going until the end. But it's a long way, you know, it's a long way. And you already, so you should save yourself before that. And I think I mean, I understand that you wanted to use this phrase, like to make, because it's cool. But then,
it is cool.
yeah, I know. Maybe not so crazy fast, and not so. He also doesn't say anything about the dynamic. He doesn't say anything about the dynamic with which you continue into 94. In 102 he says mezzo piano, but all here in between, it's really up to you. So what I was missing a little bit, you see these it's 95, 97, you have this wide octaves going on.
Mm-hmm.
I was missing a little bit of this yam, to-dam, 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 this lower tenuto on the lower octave. You see what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. So
Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba.
yam, to-dam, 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 because it's cool. It's something new. I didn't really hear it. Maybe it's the recording. I don't know if you did that.
No, I didn't do that.
Yeah, because he does. Yeah. Pam 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 yam to dam to dam to dam to pam 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 yam to dam to dam to dam. It's interesting, like something new. And if it's too fast, you can't do that. But okay, something to think about, right? Okay. So you didn't really convince me totally in this whole part with these tempo changes and everything. It was cool, but it was somehow okay. It's happening. No, it's not. It's happening. No, it's not yet. You see what I mean?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So yeah, and for me, it would be great if in F it would be really like many snakes going on.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. That's how I see it, especially because you put all these notes there and all these, like stickings. There is so much information on that, in that part.
Right.
So also one thing that would be, you actually circled it, but it would be great to prepare it more and to give more emphasis when we have F sharp in 117. Like before that, it was always C sharp in the bass. And here, that's the first time that you introduce this note. So maybe just give yourself some space to give it a little more importance.
So like slow it down a little bit there, like
Maybe because you have the ending is da pa tu don da, and also it says for the first time, it says like actually these two bars have tenuto on F sharp and on C sharp. You see 119. You have many tenuti there. Don pa da don pa da tira 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 pa 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 da tira 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 ta 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 ta. You see that in 119. That. So I think you should bring that. So yes, yeah, maybe not really slow down big time, but a little bit more space, And also this E flat, E flat, E flat. And then go into relentless. And what dynamic did you play in relentless? Forte? I think so. Okay.
Yeah, just right around there.
Yeah, now you go crazy here. It's cool. It's cool. Okay. I like this. This was fine. Molto ritardando. I think you can do even more ritardando in 133, but it was okay. It was fine. It worked well. I think this going back to the beginning worked pretty well. That was pretty cool. It was great. Then bang bang, yeah, that was good. Yeah. Okay, and then you go until there is the jump. This was all fine. Okay, and the final thing, yeah, maybe also for the ending. Okay, this is all. Let me see if I wrote something down. 135. Yeah, here also I would give myself more space in 135 because you have those octaves and that has to sing. Yam pa 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 pi pam ta ta ta. Just after the jump there to coda. Just that. But otherwise it was very effective. If you want to start maybe a little softer in 147 to make a big crescendo, but again, it's like it's however you feel that. And also this last out of time, yeah. So if you want to give more of this glissando, cheer, yeah. So yeah, that's really up to you how you feel that particular on that particular day. You know what can be done also? Wait, let me see. Nah, that's maybe too complicated. I was thinking like doing the octave with with one hand, the FF, and this little interval with the other hand. So you do like ta bum, so you can really pull the octave down for the glissando. You see what I mean? Just an idea. But
I had an idea about this. I've added in a little bit recently, but on the last note, or on the last two chords, I'm doing B flat and D in
2 hands,
2 and 4, and then the G and D on 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But I thought it would be really cool, since people are looking at my left hand coming down for that last note, sneak a G and an octave above that, so it's G, D, and G, and so it sounds like a little bit full, but they didn't see it. I thought that would be a kind of a cool idea.
That's a great idea.
It's like, wow, that sounded like that. That was, yeah, okay. I'm gonna do that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great idea, because these little things are really, that's it. You're totally allowed to do that, and it just brings, as you said, power and fullness of sound. That's totally cool. Because it's also a very theatrical piece. So whatever you can do, to make it look cool and sound cool. So I always experiment, with these stickings, especially when the glissando is there, because the most important thing is to make things sound. What comes out. It's not important if you do it like this with your foot or with whatever. It's just important to have that musical moment or that sound, the particular sound there. So cool. So what do you think about starting really soft in 147? Because you started quite loud there.
I did. I started very loud.
Like, because you have an accent on the D, on the low D, just before that, right? So you can kind of sneak. You did a break, okay, which is fine. But you could also sneak into the sound of that D, just like come out, not do the just an idea. You did a break and you started, like 147. Okay, you could hear all the notes, but actually maybe really, because the harmony is there, it's not like he's changing many harmonies, so you can really sneak in the resonance of the D. Bam! They don't see it coming, like boom. You see? Just an idea.
Oh, absolutely.
You can experiment. You can experiment with that. Because the harmony is not changing so much, so it also will, sound fuller. And here, pull back that you did that worked perfectly. That was fine. But whenever you have octaves, you can take a little bit more time. I think that's just that. It's not many places like that. Okay, there's a ritardando before B and everything. Whenever there's this dramatic moment, or you have the melody in the octaves, you can stretch it a little bit. But I think it's just this last. Okay, it's also before F. Yam pam. It's not in octaves, but still, it's like yam tam tam pam. You see this 2 beats before F. Also, you can take your and then raise into F. But you kind of did that, if I recall. I think it was.
I broke time a little much in between that baka 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 ba and F, and I played the 2 beats before F very slow. I never thought that I still don't think I play that like how I still don't kind of like how it sounds. I don't know.
It's just the right, the right measure of the thing. The idea is good, but it might have not, you might have not done it totally in a convincing way. That's just a little bit, something to work on. It's difficult because it's fast before that, and then you yaka taka taka tam, because it's good to give yourself space because everything is sounding so much. So you need to clear, you need to have a little bit of not silence but clarity in between, because otherwise we'll lose the beginning of F. So it's good to breathe, and it's good to also there is this upper line, ya pa pa pam dum ta 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 tam pam, the B flat E, ya ta ta ta. This is the like the point towards like the moment to jump from and then go there. Yam pam pam pam. Maybe before that you can breathe. I don't remember how you played that one, the particular one, but you definitely, you can definitely take some time there because you create a lot of sound, and then we need a little breath before F. Otherwise, everything will get lost, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
That's what I was going for. I'll try and experiment with how much space I put in between.
Yeah.
Right on.
Do you have any other questions? You know what could be done also? It's not totally, maybe a tiny little death stroke in 45 on the last, on the if you see the first beat, you have do bop. You see this last 16 note of the first beat, 45.
45?
Yeah. So you have da bop.
Oh, okay.
So not a real death stroke, but kind of, almost.
Just kind of like leave it there a little longer than it should.
Yeah. So that you kind of dampen the sound a little bit. How fast is that? Remind me, please. It's quite fast, right?
I'm trying to get it to 144, but right there I'll probably be going a little bit quicker.
Yeah. I sometimes play around with these things. I mean, I sometimes just like try to, because this is a very percussive moment and very drumming like. And I sometimes go try, okay, this is too fast for one hand. Like don't bop, like don't bop, like double strokes, just for fun, like something. Okay, it sounds like a drum here, because actually you can play around with that. You can do whatever you can do. Daga 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 daga. Okay, but you can also, it might sound cool to do like.
Right.
Because it's kind of it's very rhythmical. Right, it's very percussive. It's very like, it's not a marimba. It's very a little bit like a little drum set or something.
What do you think about dampening the bars on the tucka 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 tucka? Like doing like a libertango type, like put my leg on it or something?
Yeah, that could also be a solution. That's not a bad idea, not at all. It's depending on the also you can go towards the chords, the what do you call them? You know what I mean? So not in the middle of the bar, but towards the
Sure.
What's the name?
Nodes.
Notes, yeah, right there. So you have this different sound, because this is going to be like a big resonating sound, and there you do like almost ethnic, you know, almost a little bit like some, I don't know, African or like a wood block or something like that, right? I don't know, just like something like that. That would be cool, yeah. Or what you said. That's also, I think it's a cool idea to do that. And then, especially because this is a percussive moment where he wants this tempo transition, you know, 4/3. So everything has to be very clear rhythmically. So yeah, right. Makes sense to dry the sound, make it very precise. I mean, it was. You can make it even more obvious. This like 4/3. It's cool, but you can make it more obvious. I could understand that, but it's cool. So, what do you want, Tim? What do you want? You just pop there. I want to be. If you want to be useful, bring me a beer. Let's go. We will make it big, artistic.
No, that's fine. You carry on. I'll tell me when you're done.
No, it's fine. I think we're about there. But okay, yeah. Tell me if there is anything else. But I think we kind of went through everything. What do you say, Zach?
Oh yeah, I have like a page and a half of stuff to try now. I'm excited.
Okay.
Any questions I come up with?
The last time I've seen at the end of a piece out of time. I was trying to work out whether that's like to play it out of time or whoever commissioned it just didn't put enough money in the meter. It's like done.
Out of time. That's a nice suggestion. That's a nice suggestion. Out of time. Yeah, I'm out of time because.
Anyway.
But we are not. So Zach, if you have any other question, please let me know.
Yes, ma'am. I think I may come up with a couple for the end. Is there a Q&A session at the like a little
yeah,
definitely.
We should have time. We should have time. Yeah.
Yeah. We should have. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So
I think let's move on if that's all right.
Okay.
Nice one, Zach. Great job.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ivana.
Yeah.
It was great. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to stay in the US now, featuring Jared. Hey, Jared.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey.
How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Over to you. If you want to just say a little bit about yourself and what you're going to present, that'd be great.
Sure thing. So my name is Jared Collar. I'm in the Northwest Indiana part of the United States near Chicago. I graduated with my bachelor's degree back in 2018, and I've been kind of playing in a few different ensembles and orchestras since then. I finally have my own marimba about a year ago. Been building up my chops to start playing it more as a soloist. So today I'm going to be performing the first 5 or so minutes of Vermilion Bird by Heng Liu. I've only really been working on this the past couple of weeks, so I just want to make sure I'm kind of on the right track. I'm planning a recital for September, and I'd love to program this for that. So just make sure everything's on the right track. And if you have any advice for moving forward with that as well. And just a word of warning, my marimba does not have resonators at the moment, so it may sound a little weird.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, okay.
Yes, but you should get a general understanding of it.
moment. Okay, I practiced until here. Did you hear me what I said?
I only got the last couple words. Could you repeat it?
No, I like the dramatic moment. It's ending, but it's not over yet. I still have to do the other stuff. Okay. So what did you say? How long have you been practicing the piece?
Just a couple weeks. I got it a few months ago and kind of read through it a couple times and never actually sat down and learned it until recently.
Okay, so let's go through the piece. I have my little notes here. Let's check what's really written. The first page, you have three moments with grace notes. You see, it's bar 1, then bar 5, bar 9.
Yes.
So I think so. This is really the whole piece. There are many moments where you can hear the reference to some of the marimba repertoire. I don't know, Maslanka here, or even here Mirage or something like that, like playing with these little grace notes. I think it's important to make difference. The first one has, each note has a tenuto, and I think it can be slow as you did that. Okay. But later on, 5 and 9, I think it should be much faster, especially because in bar 9 you have this septuplet, so it shouldn't sound the same.
Okay.
Okay, so pay attention to that. Okay, this was fine. Then you have this cantabile section. I mean, even if you didn't have the resonators, you did a great job there. You know, the sound is terrible without the resonators, but you will, you know, it will work. So that's fine. So I think this whole passage has to be in a stable dynamic, so that you have a sudden 14, 17. So don't do a crescendo. It's not the idea. It's really, you stay. I mean, it doesn't really give any precise information, because you end up with the piano in the right hand before that, and then you have a mezzo forte there. So I would say mezzo piano, mezzo forte there. Stay softer, more like sweet, and so on, so that you really make an important entrance in 17 with this forte and accelerando, right? And also give, but I think that was fine. Okay, and then we go into pesante. So here, this whole part between pesante and B was a little weird for me, because there's something strange happening in bar 24, because we suddenly have 6 beats here. Mm-hmm. And there is no, it's either they either forgot to write it down, or maybe it's a triplet, because you know why? Because in pesante you have yam pi 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 pa 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 yam ti 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 ya pa 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 yam ti 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 ya ta ta ta. So if you go into half notes, this is almost like a triplet in più mosso. And then do we stay in this triplet mode, so that actually these 6 beats are actually triplets in 4/4, but it's weird actually. I don't know what was the idea, but anyway, I think it's also a little bit, you know, he says pesante, and then it's quarter note 132. It's quite fast. Yeah. So, right. You know, so I think you can give yourself a little bit more space after the initial octave. Yam ti 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 ya pa 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 yam ti 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 ya pa pa dam 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 pim pam pam pim pam. You really should hear this as a triplet in 22. If you think in half notes, yam pa 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 pa, right? It's a half note. So dam pim pam pam pim pam pam pim pam pam pim pam. And then not too slow in 24. Tiapa, yapa, tiapa, tiam, pam, pam. You see, this whole passage has to make sense. It's
Okay.
very strange. Yeah, it's very strange because he changes. Like each line is a different tempo marking or different indication, but it has to work as a whole. These three lines. So I think the idea of thinking in half notes could help that, and definitely giving yourself space for after the octave. Now here you have a repeated chord with accents, yam ta 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 tam, and it's fine. You play that well, but then in B we have different articulation, so you have to work on the illusion of having a legato. Not ta 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 ta. Okay, you have to work it out. So how do you plan to do that? What do you think you're going to do?
So, when I practice this at slower tempos, I'm able to bring that out more. For this recording, I played it closer to tempo marked, and I can't quite get that.
Yeah.
But with the jump, I'm trying to take a little bit of time from the accent on beat 1 up the slur up to the second note. And then I'm trying to do some dynamic shaping, but I haven't been able to record myself and listen back to know how much is too much or not enough yet. And I'm also trying to find ways. I don't know how to dictate the staccato notes as much. That's one of the things I'm struggling with, is staccato notes.
Yeah, what you can do is maybe just go a little bit, but it's a lot of work to be done. You can go a little bit off the center, You can go towards the notes to have a shorter note. So you kind of, as you said, you accentuate the first note, and also he makes a difference. Like just the first one has an accent, later on you have a tenuto. But anyway, you will always lean more on that first one. It's almost like a much less. The second eighth note much less, and then you go towards the notes. This is really, as you said, you need to record yourself, or you need to experiment to find the right dosage for all that. Okay. And then there is this legato moment, and then again, okay. Also, it would be nice to hear this. You have CD, ta ta pa. Whenever it has this little movement from D to E, like to kind of ta ta ta, just kind of tiny little crescendo to bring this out, this change.
Okay.
Where it's important. Most important is just before 38, because it goes C, D, C, E, and then goes into DF. So I think it's important to bring it out there. Okay. Okay, so there's this 42. I like the character. It really reminds me of, I don't know, of Tanaka or some of Keiko Abe's pieces, like this little naive and just like a little doll. Yeah, that worked perfectly well. Okay, so again, 53. Again, we need a warmer sound there, but you don't have the resonators now, and it's difficult to, like it has to be more legato and like warmer, and obviously your left hand is repeating the same. So it doesn't have to be so loud. You bring your right hand a little bit.
Do you think maybe it's like slight weight on the first note and then bring it back a little?
I'm not sure. I would be more neutral here, because it goes like ya ta 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 ti ti ta 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 ti ti. It's just like not too much. I think this is just the transition. Don't be just nice and soft sound. Yeah. Okay. Save your your stamina for 55. This has to be really exuberant. 55, 56, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and here you have it's always the same notes in the left hand, right? The whole the whole bar, you're repeating E flat, A flat, E flat. So focus on the octaves in your right hand. You don't have to, bring so much of the left hand. It will come out anyway. It doesn't have to be. Okay. So then rubato, that is working well. Let me. I wouldn't do the ritardando so soon, and because it was very soon and it was very heavy, and so it's like heavy freight train, like never stopping and done, like.
Yeah,
So
I do that a lot.
Maybe wait. Yeah, it's really ritardando just the last two bars, and you prepare it with the tenuto just before that. You see these 5 notes, ya ta ta ta, and then you have a ritardando. So don't do it before that. It's really okay. And then 663 again, more singing and focus on the right hand. Left hand is just feeling, just like the same notes bar per bar. Don't bring that too much out. Okay. And also there is another thing that is a little bit left open. That's the question of dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't say anything. So it's crescendo, but I think you did that like 63, maybe not so much, and then C a little bit more as you did. So in C, we have the problem of we can't do what we did before. You can't move towards the notes because you're already there, right?
Yeah.
So I would really like, I would just like go a little bit down with the dynamics, just like that, like down, yeah, like the last two not so loud.
Okay.
Okay, and then there is this 75. Okay, again the same thing. Poco più mosso, that works well. All this works well. Okay, and then D, that also worked well. If you can have, again, it's the resonators and everything. If you can have it more legato and more singing as much as possible, that will be great. D, right? To make it less rhythmical, even if it is rhythmical, but more rhapsodic, more. Okay. Then with energy, that's. Let's see what's. And I would keep this mezzo piano in D. All the way. I think you started to crescendo a little bit too soon. Just just keep it mezzo piano. It's nice. It's nice when it's soft. It's fine. And then okay, obviously there is a crescendo there, but not too much. Because then in E we have this energetic part. We have this energetic part where you should not lose the energy. So this one should be, and precision, really insisting and very precise. Like this part is really there.
Yeah.
Okay. If you could bring a little bit more from 133, there is this little tenuto on the last 60 note of every bar. Right. If you could bring it out a little bit more, that would be great. Again, here it's piano. It's just this thing that has to come out. It's almost like nothing else should be heard, like dum, bibom, bibom, bibom. It's piano. All these notes and just like a little. And then you have before 141, ba ba pipom, pibom, pibom. You see these 3 notes, 140, last 3, 16 notes.
Right.
And then from 145, even more this tone. Ti-dum, ti-dum, ti-dum. And then F. Da-da-da-dum. Okay. So did you read the rest of the piece? I mean, you didn't play it now, obviously, but did you read the rest? So,
I have.
okay.
Yes.
Any issues there?
Let me look
You
through
have
it
to
really.
focus on your left hand here. So we have the roles are reversed. You should keep down the right hand and bring up the left hand. So don't insist. It's just like almost as a roll there, the repeated notes there in the right hand. It's an illusion of the note that is, you know, a continuous sound. So not too much. Okay. Then we have G pesante. Again, maybe you can do a little bit when, you know, for some chords you can do something to go towards the notes, but not always. Where you can play with that if you have time, but there's a lot going on. But again, if you don't have time for dead strokes, so you have to play with the dynamics and just with the position of the, you know, of the stroke where you play or not. Okay. Then H. H is like yum tom tom pim tom tom. Okay, this is like a game. It's game like. Okay, just before the last. Save your energy for the last, for the very very ending. So don't get loud too soon.
Okay.
From H, right? Because that's the tendency that we all have, you know, like to start the crescendo too soon. And whenever
Yes.
you know, it's usually it's either you have a crescendo like for 3 bars or something like that. Even with the roll with snare drum, it's always more effective if you do it, you know, like much more in the last moment than the
Right.
gradual crescendo, right? So I always try to keep that in mind. Okay. And what will you do with the last chord? How will you play that?
I've actually been experimenting with that. Because I don't want to do a full dead stroke, but I'm thinking almost like a very weighty drop and then just gently lay the mallets to kind of shorten it, or play closer to the nodes.
Yeah. I think yeah, because it's or even play on the knots. It's
Okay.
going to be it's going to have a very special quality, but maybe but it's something that you have to see how it sounds on your marimba, because marimba's brains are also different, you know, how it
Yeah.
works. Okay, but you know, definitely wait for the sound to kind of evaporate, because it's going to be very loud. You can even
Right.
take a little liberty with the breaks, you know, like with the rests a little bit more, because nobody will yeah, right. Okay, cool. Do you have any other doubts or questions?
I guess a couple. Working backwards, that very last eighth rest has a fermat over it. Do you think I should look into that too much, or do you think it's just like a weird publishing thing?
I think it's just like probably it looked weird to just have a rest, like plop. So it's kind of okay. This is the ending.
Okay.
Just that, I think.
Okay.
Probably felt, it probably felt like that, because I'm trying to imagine it without. You can try to, you know, like cover it and see what does it say to you.
Right.
Like,
It almost implies that it should be a little before the note, but they didn't want to put it on the and of 4. They wanted it right on 4.
yeah. So
Okay.
yeah.
Bar 196, that very last crescendo up to the fortissimo.
Okay.
Do you think that tempo should stay consistent driving up to that last note? Do you think it should slow or speed up at all?
Yes, you're talking about which bar?
196, the third
196.
last measure.
Right, 196, because I was on a 96 and I was like, what are you talking about? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Tam pam 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 terodidim. Yam pam 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 yakatatam. Inevitably, he's putting accents on every note. So it has to get slower.
Okay.
Ding, ding, tick it, 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 tam. This one has to be, yeah, really the last one. Tick it, tam. And then wow, almost like jump and down.
Okay. Because I've been doing that, I just didn't know if it was right.
Yeah. I'm also like always try to think about different solutions. Always try to, think back and forth. Okay, that or this or that, and yeah. But whenever there is so much going on, and towards the ending, it's sometimes you either speed up or you slow down. It's almost never straight.
Right.
There's a cat. Is it at your place?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wow.
He's outside because he wants to come in the room, but he's not allowed in this room, so.
Oh, poor guy. It's a guy.
Yes.
Yay. How old is he?
He's 6 years old, 7 years old. So he's my baby.
Cute.
Yeah.
Because I thought because there are cats here in the street, and I thought, okay, because there are some which are really, really nice, and they communicate, they know the people, they sometimes come, I open the door, they come in, sniff, and go their ways. Like they're domestic cats, but probably allowed to, go roam around and okay. I thought I was starting to get crazy. What's going on? I hear cats.
Oh, yeah. I didn't realize how loud he was. I'm sorry.
No, it's super cute. I love cats. I adore cats. So that's cute. Say hi to him. Poor guy.
I will.
Okay.
I think I have one more question.
Okay.
The glissando going into letter E.
Okay.
Because it's a little weird because it's G sharp and B. And then it's going down into that left-hand octave.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to experiment a couple different ways, but I can't seem to quite get it the way I like.
Yeah. It's weird. What if you did your and then you did the octave with two hands, just that first one?
Okay.
The point is to have it loud, to have it out there. So maybe it can be really ram, like fast, because it's like, what is the tempo? What is the tempo there? So
144.
Yeah. It depends if you want to, which accent you would, because you will have to sacrifice something. You can't have both. It's too fast. You either slow down or you don't do so much accent on G sharp B, and you just focus on ram and the octave there. But you can, to be sure that you get the right notes, you can make a little break. Ram, boom, not and connect. You can do that. Because it is a new letter. I think it's okay to give yourself some time there. I think it's totally fine.
Okay.
And we want the glissando. Glissando is a cool thing. We want to hear that.
Yeah.
That's a cool thing. and then you're doing a big movement, and it looks great. And yeah. Okay.
I think that's all I have for now.
Okay, if you remember something, let me know at the
Okay.
end.
Yes, sounds great.
Okay, perfect. Cool.
All right. Nice one, Jared. Thanks very much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Nice playing. I think I remember when I was at college practicing over Christmas, I had a marimba, and I remember taking a resonator stuff because, to be frank, I couldn't be bothered to take them back from college. So, but one thing it did do is made me really think about like my fluid playing, because you hear everything, and then when
Yes.
you go back to it, it's like I sound like God. This is great.
That's it.
Yes. Obviously, that's all you hear, so everyone else hears the normal. So, you know,
I hear every little imperfection, every like slight little, like my 16th notes aren't quite even. I can hear it even live, and so it drives me crazy sometimes. But it's great for practicing that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's good practice. Good practice.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well done, Jared. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we're gonna move to our last artist, Vlad. How you doing, Vlad?
Hey, I'm doing great. Ivana, it's nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
All right. So, yeah, the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you.
Something about you, yeah.
Yeah, I'm Vlad. I'm currently in my master's program at Westchester University in Pennsylvania. I'm studying with Ralph Sorrentino. And yeah, I'm playing the second movement of marimbology, which I'm working the piece as a whole up for doctoral auditions.
Fantastic.
In the fall, and I've only got like 2.5 movements down right now. So, and this recording is from it's from March, so a couple months ago, when it had been in my hands for about like a month and a half at that point. So I've definitely changed some things now.
Okay, you'll tell me about it.
Yeah. But yeah, I think this piece is really interesting. I chose it because I feel like it doesn't get a lot of play compared to the other masterworks. This one's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of out of left field. Not a lot of people I don't know, because it doesn't really grab your ear. You know, there's nothing super memorable about it. And I've been playing it for a minute now. You know, Nancy came to my school in the fall and played the third movement. And it was astounding. But yeah,
she has worked closely with Gutter Schuller, so she really, and she's member of the society that's trying to keep the memory alive and everything. So she really had this close relationship, and she knows the guy.
yeah, she's had great things to say. I played her the first movement at a competition in January, which was great. She had great things to say. My mallets were way too hard. That was definitely one of them. Yeah.
Okay. Let's. Very, very interesting piece. I never actually played it on the concert, but I did study it. And I think it's wonderful when you have these pieces by composers that are not percussionists, because you have to come up with solutions which are not, it's just like he wrote the music and then you have to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
The box. So did you change something from the way you played it on the recording?
Yes, I've experimented, other than just some notes that I had learned wrong. I've experimented with now when all these one-handed rolls are going on, and then the line underneath that, or I guess on top of that. With those rolls, I just singled them in that recording, trying to make them all kind of be in a rival. But I've tried throwing in some left-hand independent rolls on some of those notes as well. But I can't do it for all of them because it's just really difficult of a position to play. And Nancy, she plays in the cross grip, and I'm doing Stevens, which throws off some more. So I'm still trying to figure that out, and just trying to make those rolls be as smooth as possible, so it's not just kind of this weird, unmetered rhythm. That's kind of out of context.
That's actually he's playing with this like a line of repeated notes, or even it's like a study of rolling in different ways, but like from a totally different perspective from a percussionist. So I was, for example, experimenting at the beginning, because it's the way it transforms, the way it morphs into this final roll of E, A, C, C sharp, G, right? So I tried, instead of, I did the roll like beep, okay, and then I did like repeated notes with, since it's very deep down, so like repeating the notes like I didn't do I was just keeping my mallet on each of those, and since it's so low down there, if you do the slide, it kind of works instead of breaking it down, because then this comes very natural. That was one thing that I felt like, this thing of the repeated note with just one mallet, it worked here, for example, for me.
Gotcha.
And obviously, you were saying like you experimented, and then the problem is the consistency. Like in one part it works, in another it does not.
Yeah.
So the only thing that is important is that illusion of this line and of this sound, whatever you do, right? So I think, starting from the beginning, we'll go back to the idea of rolling. There are some moments where you really need to, because this roll is everything that is happening. Bar 3, you just have this E flat. Of course, you want to do it like this, right? Because all our focus is on that note. But every time when you have more things going on, you can really cheat and kind of make okay, it's there, but it's actually, I'm not playing it, but I'm playing it, but I'm not, like right? And then whenever you have this little thing, like an implosion, or like like everything is. Yeah, I feel like really going into the black hole. Oh.
Yeah, it's just like sucking in. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would be even more, because it's from mezzo piano, and these dynamics, like really, really soft. I cannot hear it on the recording, obviously. It's not possible to judge dynamics from the recording. So I'll just say how I feel about them. You maybe did that way, so I don't know. So I would do it even softer, like
Yeah.
bar before, like almost nothing, like not
Yeah.
so quite like trying really to bring them out all the harmonies, but it's actually just a
Yeah, I've definitely been battling just clarity there.
yeah.
And just because I
No, but it's almost like we just need to hear these outer lines, which are almost chromatic.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Because inside, it's not really. We just need to have this like almost like an electronic effect, when you do the like,
Yeah.
oh, that's soft. Like the robot has switched off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it restarts in just the next measure.
Yeah. And then, so here, for example, so obviously there are several possibilities. You did that, the bar, and you did this, right? Which is cool. It could be done here too, but then of course we have the line changes. I would maybe try here, since again it's low, it's very low, So you start with two hands, but then I would stay with this like even for the, okay, here we have. I would play with these things like, but not the way you did it, like da 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 da. We tried that way. I would just like ba da 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 da, like that,
Yeah.
I kind of make a hint of the note, and then we move forward because there's something else happening in the other hand.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like there's a lot of uncertainty throughout the whole movement. It's just kind of that air of like not really knowing what's going on.
Yeah, because there's also something else, once you strike the bar and it starts to vibrate, if you strike it again, you're actually stopping the vibration. So it's actually sounding longer. And he wrote the roll because he wanted this note to be sustained. But maybe it's not needed to be rolled everywhere he writes it should be. You see what I mean? He wanted this, he didn't want boom and decay, of course.
Yeah, he wants that just hanging out.
He wanted it to vibrate there. So I think with this idea, I would actually vibrate less, roll less in general, and try to bring these different voicings. You go up there, da da dee. Whenever you have a movement in a line, you bring this out, tip, pipa, da ti, pa pa pim, right? So you bring all our focus on that, and then it would be great. I try to do that. It works, but you have to practice it. From bar 7 until bar 9, it will be great to have, because that's almost the idea. It's to use not like instead of, so it is slow. Just make it as slow as possible and try to bring it out like that.
Gotcha. Yeah,
if you want to try it, but it works. I tried it. It's totally different. Then it gives a kind of a uncertainty of the meter and the speed up, but the real like instead of the with one melody,
Yeah,
it's totally different feeling. Just an idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
da-da-da-da-da-dum, da-da-dee, and then okay, da-dum, da-da, rum, and then also 10. You know, this roll. The point is to have this big crescendo, dum, rum, to have this effect of one. So you don't. He has put the roll on the second beat, but I think it's more to have, because he needs the crescendo. How are you going to do that with a roll?
Yeah.
But I was just like bum, rum, like in the last moment, not roll all the time. Rum, because it has to be bum, and also be sure you really have to calculate that so that it's bum, dum, in the whole movement, and in general, he was very, very specific and very picky about all the rhythms, all the rests, everything. So sure that you play everything as you do most of the time.
Yeah, there's definitely some things in there that were like a little hairy. Yeah.
So here, like I hear it from 10, I think it really works. Beep bom, beep beep, beep bom, beep beep, beep bom, beep bom. Just like with one hand, you did that, and that works. I think that's fine. I don't know.
Oh, great. Okay, cool. Yeah.
I think it's cool. And also, he said like 50, but it's Rhapsody. You're not, you can.
Yeah, there can be some breathing going on.
Yeah, and here especially because it's going, and he says poco accelerando, so something is happening. You can kind of speed it up, and it's going to be easier for the roll and for the notes to sustain. And okay, so he does say poco accelerando. I think you can do more, right?
Okay, yeah, I definitely hung out on the lower end of that range. I don't even know if I made it to that written 66, 70.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah, I think you can really ta-dam, 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 beep. And now the thing is that since it's forte, I think you have to be careful with this forte in the lower register, because when you go up there, you have no sound and you have to stay forte. I mean, it's the nature of the instrument. So just be a little cautious in the bass register. Don't go too loud. So when you're up there, okay, and then okay, so you do this. The thing is that so what are you doing here now? What is your last, what is the last version of the roll in this section in 13?
I've settled on, so in that recording, I'm still kind of, my hand is kind of forward facing the bar, and I'm really just relying on like a very small area of bar, almost kind of hitting, if this is the bar, I'm almost kind of getting on that side ish. So I've shifted a little bit more left. So now my 4 mallet is kind of down on the closer edge, and my 3 mallet is more in like the center of the bar. And I found that to be more successful.
And what if you went for the edges, both edges?
Then I would then have to shift my whole set on the right side.
And then it's too far-fetched down there. Yeah. I don't remember what I did here. I think I always tried to kind of just try to be so you show us there is a B flat up there. 1, and then just we think it's there. We are not going to be able to hear that because we have fortissimo in the bass. So we should just, like, the audience should just remember it's there. I think you should really focus and not lose any more energy there. Gotcha. I mean, just a little, just a little something. I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, it's definitely really hard. I feel like every time I get there, I'm really stressed out and working super hard. And then it's not even soft. Then it's kind of getting more noticeable.
Yeah. Because the problem is then you lose this control of the pace in the left hand, you know, of the good, like tiadam, pipa, tim, ti. And it's also, I think it's what is 70? It's not even, it's fast actually. It's not so slow. Let me did you check that? It should move. It shouldn't be slow. 70. Titariam, papi, ratatatitam, you know, it goes. So actually for this tiam, tidam, pipam, tidam, just the roll a little bit, pam, tam, it's almost like a bouncing pam, you know, pam,
Yeah.
you know, repeating notes, but go in the crescendo. No, just ta-da, pipam, dum, ding, da 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 da. Ding, didam, didam, dodam, bibim, and just just less, and you have to bring the attention of the audience to other things because other things are important. This is just something in the background. Okay. Same thing after that. I think this consistency of this heroic declamatory line is very, very important. You know, you really have to, this is the most important thing, because if you invest yourself too much there, and we see that, we see and hear that, and then this is just, it's losing its importance and its strength, you know, and this is important. We are backwards slow, so this is my left hand. So you see what I'm talking about, because we can't. It's a mirror vision. Okay. And then obviously, one thing, you have the crescendo. Here's where it becomes. I wouldn't think 25. That one is kind of dun, 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 I don't. I think it's more like the. I would maybe, what I would do is use the first beat and do the crescendo there with both hands, like G and B up there. And then a little bit like kind of, or stop with the right hand. Just focus on the tadam, tiri, and then together again.
Yeah.
You see? So the crescendo would be done in the first, almost two first beats, and you create some sound, and then you focus on your left hand here. I don't know how you planned to do that, but I would do it. I tried that way. Because you can't, you really can't.
Yeah, especially because then it's, my left hand is coming up, so it's getting like super cramped. So I haven't experimented with that, but it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And you actually attack the 26. You just attack the B and then bring the left hand to do the real crescendo, right?
Yeah.
26. And just pay attention that it's a real triplet, that it's clear that it's a triplet, okay? Each time. It's happening twice. You have this triplet. And then, this has to be super in rhythm. I mean, clear. Not.
Yeah.
Okay? Like a statement, really. Okay. And then we have this. And then basically, what you did there, I think it's fine. I mean, it's this thing. I would just keep this. Can you do the crescendo in 35 with just that? And then for the final E, use the final E of the crescendo, use the right hand. Because I think you did this with both hands in 35.
Yeah, I started 35 started with just the one-handed roll, going like this, and then after the BF, I brought over and went to 3 and 2.
But you can't do the crescendo just like that.
I've never gotten to the point where like it arrives, it's like it's smooth enough travel to where it's louder than the next arrival point, because like that tempo 1, I think it's a little less than where that had just arrived, and it's like, oh, here's this again.
Okay. Because it will be great, because this is kind of cutting it. I don't know. It's, since you're keeping it this way, ta-da, boom, ta-da, boom, right? You see what you can do.
Yeah.
It's like just a suggestion. You can, that will be great. Because he has actually, it's just, I think you have these parts with this ta-dam, 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 where obviously you can cut, you can do these rolls like this. But whenever you have two hands, it's best if you keep it as much as possible, just like one hand, the other hand, because otherwise it's broken. The line is broken. If you just suddenly on the second beat, bring the other hand there, you can, then you lose the smoothness. So I would sacrifice the loudness for the smoothness.
Gotcha. Yep, absolutely.
Sincerely, yeah. Okay, then just this one looks simple, but actually 37. There is this crescendo through. You have 3 beats crescendo, so you have to kind of even. Yeah. Tidam, tidam, bit. Tidam, tidam, pita. Okay, and then again the same thing as at the beginning, and again before 42. Again this implosion, even if it's not as soft as at the beginning.
Yeah.
So at the beginning you go to pianissimo. Here it's almost, and it's not as fast, so the rhythm is not so dense. So there I would really like evaporate.
Gotcha.
Here you can do a little bit like it could be clearer because it's kind of opening, even if it's going soft. It's almost like a suspension here. There I feel like it's switched off, and here I feel
it's
a
like
little
leading
suspension.
to, and then it just stops.
Exactly. And then this is nice. This sounds nicely. 43 and okay. And just one last little 46. So I see that you are. What if you did this roll? If you did like E G D G, so that you don't, so that it's smoother in the right hand. You see what I mean?
I've been, that measure is so, it's really hard the way I like played it in there, and I still haven't found a way. I've experimented with just like a fatter mallet and aiming between the D and the E to just kind of try to hit both of them, but then I pretty much only get one. So I've also tried placing the G with like every time I play that B flat up top, I kind of do a double stop there, but then it adds in like a rhythm that's not there.
Yeah. It's a stretch there. It's or you just do, you get the F too, but
it's hard.
But it should, because it should be dolce. It should not be, as you said, it should not be rhythmical. It should be just like some shimmering there. Yeah.
Do you think if I could like maybe like independent roll between the bottom chord, keep the G on the one, and kind of just float that bottom mallet, and then
exactly something like that? Because I think he liked this notion of this roll, which is he plays with that at the beginning. This. So absolutely anything you can do like this. It's shimmering, as I told you. It's like it's not. It shouldn't be precise. I mean, meaning rhythmically precise. It's just like a little bit unpredictable. So I think it could work. I think it could work. I think that's a good idea. It's a cool idea. Just be sure to have this. The last chord should be clear.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. This is cool. This is cool. This is okay. Also be sure to, observe I think it was the rests and the meter. I think it was fine for this, but then down, and here again, it's the same rhythm, but without accents and in piano dynamics. So it's tricky to get it nice and controlled.
And do you think that should match intensity? Like the same kind of intensity as in the beginning, even at the softer dynamic? So still like really angular?
Okay. Yes, I think it has to be. Yeah. Moreover, but you have rests, like, and each line has, especially the upper line, it has rests, so it's like really short. Yeah. And this one should be precise. Tian, tu, pom, pom, tik, pom, pom. Right? This should be super clear. Yeah. This is the ending. This is the chord is that one. It's 3 bars. It's that chord. It's just like maybe again. Stay with the 4 minutes like that. Not
yeah, that would make that arrival way clearer for sure.
Yeah, I think so. It's soft. It's soft. It's down there. It should ring and work.
I'm also thinking of it's really moving to softer mallets in general. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. Especially if you don't go for okay, I need that to be there, up there, loud. Yeah, it's just like little yes. Tick tack, tick tack.
So I'll bring everyone on for the last few minutes just for questions in a minute, if that's all right.
Yeah. Thank you, Vlad. Yeah. Thank you for choosing the piece.
So much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you opened my eyes a lot to this movement. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, nice one, Vlad. Very good.
Thank you.
All right, let's bring everyone on for any last questions, and then we'll let Ivana go and get a beer, by all accounts. All right, anyone, any questions?
We know each other, Tim and me. We
Yeah, Ivana's one of the only percussionists that went to my wedding.
Exactly. Yeah, right. I've been there.
You've been there.
What happened there stays. Yeah. It was wonderful.
Yeah, it was great. Really. A long time ago now, but
yeah.
Anyone, any questions? Yeah. Or we will depart. All right. Oh yeah, Zach.
Yeah, sort of injuries over the years. You playing related in.
Wait.
For some reason, you're sounding like a robot. I'll tell you what, for everyone at home, I'm going to end the stream right now. Don't forget to check out on Wednesday, 18th, we have Mr. Michael Burrett with us. So we're going to be joining Michael on Wednesday evening. So until then, Ivana, thank you again for this evening. It's been amazing. As always.
Thank you, guys. If you need anything, write me or something.